to use Desmos to calculate statistical measures and to make data displays. Now, what's really cool about Desmos is it's a very powerful tool, and it can help us do a lot of complicated statistical calculations very, very quickly. Now, first thing I want to do is show you how to make a list. Now, technically, to make a list, all you have to do is put some brackets in here. But to make life a lot easier for us, we're going to define this list with a name, with a variable, essentially. And what I like to do is go L1, all right, and then put an equal sign here. You'll see why we're going to do L1 a little bit later. Now, let's just kind of cook up a quick example. Let's say in a class of students, we ask, how many siblings do you have? All right, so we're just going to kind of make it up as we go. First kid says 2, second kid says 1, third kid says 1, another kid says 1. We got the only children in here. We got a couple with a few extra siblings. We got a lot of people with 2 siblings, and then a lot of people with 1 sibling. You know, they just have another brother or sister, and let's just put in another only child to round it out. Okay, so here we go. We have a bunch of data. Now, these numbers, you know, they're 1s, 2s, 3s, and 0s. So they're pretty easy to have to calculate. But, you know, it's still pretty tedious to have to calculate like the mean, median, mode, all that other stuff with it. And so here's where we can use the function feature in Desmos. Go to statistics, and we can see mean, median, we have mad, and we have a bunch of other things we can do with it. And so we have 2 options. We can click mean, or we can type it in. So I can type in median, and then make sure you put parentheses. Now this is why we want to use a variable to define our list up here. So if we have mean, we can type in L1, and there we go. It quickly calculated our mean for us. And then for our median, again, just type in L1, boom, there it is. If we want to find out what the mad is, type in mad, all lowercase, parentheses, L1. And there we go, we found it. Now let's say we want to break it into quartiles. So again, type in quartile or find it under the function button right here. Now this one's a little bit trickier. So for this one, you're going to type in the list, L1, comma, which one do you want? There are 3 quartiles, so I can type in 1 to get that first one. I can type in 2, which is the median, or I can type in 3, which is the upper quartile. Okay? So again, we can very quickly find quartiles using this function right here. Now, the other thing that we can do is make data displays. All right, and so let me just get rid of this really quickly. And so let's go to our function feature again. Look a little bit different if you're using a tablet, but essentially hit functions, and then what you want is visualizations. And as you can see here, we have a bunch of we have 3 options. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click dot plot. Oops, in the wrong spot there. Make sure you're in a, there we go. Okay, so let's do that again. All right, so we'll go down to visualizations, dot plot. Okay, so what I'm going to do is hit L, or L1, and right there it's given me a dot plot of how many siblings are in a class. And so now the x-axis corresponds to the number, or these numbers right here. So how many times 0 showed up? How many times, or this is 0 siblings, 1 sibling, 2 siblings, 3 siblings. And then the y-axis is the frequency, how many times it showed up in the data. And so here I can see I have 10 students who have 1 sibling, I have 2 siblings who have 3, and I have 3 only children in this class. All right. Now, just like with the other functions, you can type in box plot, parentheses, L1. And again, L1 is great because you don't have to type in all these 2s, 1s, 3s, and 0s. And then here we go, we have the display there for it. And in here, it's showing us the information that we need. Now, this isn't the greatest data set to kind of see all this stuff because the lower quartile and the median are the same, but it's a quick way to produce these displays anyways. And if I don't want to see one, I can either delete it or remove it like that. Finally, let me show you the histogram one because that one's kind of tricky. So we go histogram, parentheses. Now notice how it says dataset bin width. So this is telling me how wide I want them to be. So for example, what I can do is go L1, comma, and if I want to break it down by siblings, like each individual sibling, I can go 1 right there. I can then make it center, or the bin alignment. So that's this thing. This is considered the bin. I could be in the center or the left. And I think if we go left, it makes more sense. So here, what we can see is that we have 3 people who have between 0 and 1 siblings. We have 10 who have between 1 and 2, aka one sibling. And then here we have 3 people that have more, or that have 2 to 3, or really 3 siblings. And then here, oh no, sorry, 2 siblings. And then here we have 2 people who have 3 siblings. So, and then if you need to, you can stretch out the axes and you can show that. Now, let's say we're dealing with some different data. And again, this is why the list is really cool to use. So what I can do is delete all that information. And let's say we have a bunch of stuff collected on a Google form. I can copy and paste that. So copy, go into my list, paste it. I have all my elements. And again, very quickly, I can make, oh, let me get rid of those right there. Okay. I can go box, plot, L1, boom. And here I can move it and I can see what we have going on here. And so what's also really cool about boxplot is you have this option to include or exclude outliers. If you don't have any outliers, it's not going to change anything, but you can do that if you want. And so this was just a real quick introduction about how to use Desmos. Essentially, you can make box plots, histograms, dot plots by just typing that in and putting it in a list. At the same time, you can go to the function feature and you can see if it's under statistics. We can find the mean, the median, any quartile, even the MAD. And these are things that can be kind of tricky or tedious to do, but Desmos will do it practically instantaneously for you. And so hopefully you now have the basics to start doing this on your own. Good luck with any project I've given you, and let me know if you have any questions.